This is a video covering a number of things that we've talked about and some new stuff. Something exciting yesterday, I received a vertical antenna, put it together, stuck it up in the backyard. Then I used this QCX Mini on 17 meters, 18.068 and up, with this lithium-ion battery, and I got on 17 meters, and it was around what was it, 0200 UTC, which is just after dark here, and did a little CQ, and whoa and behold, I hit a number of spotters on the reverse beacon network. In fact, today is March 4th, 2025, on a Wednesday. If you are anywhere close to this date, go on the web, look at the reverse beacon network and look for AA7FO. And I'm going to be on 17 meters every day starting today. You'll just have to catch me as catch can, probably in the late afternoon. I'm going to start on worked all states using this and the vertical, and I'm going to do a separate video on the vertical. All right, I marked off my workbench here with some painter's tape so I know where everything is. We're going to be wiring things together on Manhattan boards, so you're going to need some wire, and I have some expensive Teflon stuff, but let's do it cheap, because find somebody, or at a swap meet, find some Cat 5 cable. This is 350 megahertz 24 AWG. So that's the size, and it's solid copper wire. And I found a 10 or 20 foot roll for $1 or whatever at a swap meet. So I bought some for just this purpose. And what's nice about the number 24 is that you can use it also in Arduino stuff and what have you. And the prototype board, and I couldn't find my prototype board, but I've used it there. So you take and cut this thing in various lengths, and I cut it to the length of this is a Pringles can, and it contains number 24 wire that I have cut and set aside. Let me show you how to do that. Just take your cable, take your X-Acto knife with a number 11 blade, and remember they use this on TV and movies to do operations, so handle appropriately. After I use my diagonal cutters and cut the cable to length, I now take my handy dandy X-Acto knife and I cut a slit right down the center of the wire, and then pull the wire apart. See if I can do this, and then pull it out, and what you wind up with is a bunch of twisted pairs, and we're going to need twisted pairs, so you may want to leave some of them in that configuration, but most of the time we want straight wire. Okay, so here's how you do that. You separate the twisted pair, and you've got an ugly looking wire. Well, it's not ugly, but it's not something that you can use. And get you a piece of 2x4. This is a good reason for wearing gloves here. Sorry for the noise. Start at the end. Now you need to twist it with your other hand here and roll this thing. And just start with a few centimeters. Progress. And you need to twist it to help it. And then after a while you'll be able to roll it like that. Do another couple of centimeters. You like the metric system? Do it again. Do it again. Then after a while you can do it without holding it and just slide yourself down the wire. And when you get through, voila, you've got yourself a very straight wire. Then you need a pair of wire strippers. Now these are made by GC. I don't see yeah, GC 760 is a model, and I don't think they make these anywhere, but get you some wire strippers from Harbor Freight or off of eBay or Amazon that has variable sizes, and set it at number 24. And now I can go and take this, and 24 is a little too large. Okay, so let's go to 26. So they lied to me. It's number 26 wire, or, you know, whatever. But now I got it stripped, and then I can glue it, solder it to a pad. I told you that we would go and do some stuff here with a scrap board. What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. I did a few hundred more pads, and here's the remaining board. This is just scrap. Now, if I'm doing a project for show and tell or win a building contest at Pacificon again, I would clean this up. The way I clean it up is I use this 3M final stripping pads. Use it because it's non-metallic. A lot of people use sandpaper or steel wool. I don't like steel wool because it messes up your workbench, and you know those little metal filings conduct electricity, and they're going to wind up in the middle of your project. And this, just use it just to scrape up, to remove a layer of oxide on the top. Then I use a can of Krylon, but I went to Home Depot yesterday and they no longer have Krylon, so I got this Rust-Oleum paint, clear. You can get it shiny, or you can get it this, and it's okay. I like the Krylon better because it solders through. This stuff is real good paint, and we'll see. So after you clean the board and do that outside, take your paint, go outside and put a very thin coat on. And the reason for that is to protect the board, because you're going to have your dirty little paws on it, soldering down pads and stuff. I'm going to use up I've got these gloves. I got these at Harbor Freight decades ago, and they're yellow, and they develop a hole pretty quick. So let's use them up, and I'll get another bag. Okay, so now Jim Kirchie, K8IQY, my buddy, Hall of Famer, told me to punch these things copper side down, and I did. And that's the way I did it before. I just forgot. This is what one of them looks. Oops, that's the reason. While you're at Harbor Freight, there's a set of tweezers for $2. There are like 4 or 5 types. This is one I use to grab the pads, and I don't know that this will focus, but the top of the pad is shiny and smooth, and we're going to experiment with it. Now, in searching through my hoard of stuff, I found this Scotch super glue. It's a no-run gel. Now, there's 2 types of super glue. There's the thin, fast bonding thin, and the gel, and I don't know about the gel. Now, these things, these say we're a single use. Now, what they mean by single use is when you punch the hole in the tube there. I think I mentioned I got this at the dollar store, so this is $0.25 a piece, so it's not a big deal. When you, where's my tip? I'll have to take this apart and see. Oh, I see what it is. Anyway, well, let's try this. Then I got some Loctite super glue with a long bottleneck, extra long nozzle for precise application. We want to do that. And then I got the old Gorilla super glue, toughest. 10 seconds and it's glued in place. Now, on the instruction it says to let it cure for 24 hours somewhere. Maybe it's a lot that, we'll see. But we're going to use this. We're going to use this with a soldering iron, and the heat and the moisture in the air will cure it. Okay, we're going to need some solder. I have a little dispenser that I got off of eBay to make this stuff easy to get. Now this roll is from Alpha Metals. I got it. I use 62% tin, 36% lead, and 2% silver solder. Okay, this is .020 in diameter. I prefer the 015, and I have a roll of Kester that. But anyway, the reason for the silver content is I find it, one, makes a shinier joint. Number two, it flows better through printed circuit board material. And as a witness, I call upon Dan Talo, N7VE, the inventor of the Talo mixer, and he swears by it also, and I managed to find him a couple of rolls in my adventures. So also you're going to need, besides the diagonal cutters, and these are old set of Craftsman that I've had forever, you need a set of flush cutters. These are, you can get these at swap meets for $5 or whatever, and I use these only on copper wire. We're going to find that new things like inductors, whatever, using steel wire. Okay, well, I need to get this done in a hurry. Let me just do one of these and I'll go off and shut the video off and talk about it on the next trip. Let's cut this out of here. They make this hard to get to, don't they? Make a mess. Keep a garbage can clear next to. All right, let's try this. Open, and looky there. Let's see, is this, yeah, something came out of the end. Now what I do is, let me get my pencil. You're going to need a piece of some paper, and preferably some graph, one that has the grids on it. And we're going to put these in specific places. What I do is, I don't know, I'll show you later videos. Wherever I want to put the pad, I'll put a little pencil mark. Okay, it's going to disappear. And that's where I put my little glue. I say, put this down, and a little bulb, this is going to be too much. So what I'll do is put it, yeah, that's an awful lot. Now, first thing you do is put the cap back on here. This stuff is like, this is like $7 and something for 10 grams, but it's going to do a lot. And once you start building stuff, I would recommend you use this as fast as possible. Now, pick this up with your tweezers and drop it on the point, and then hold it there for a second, and then let it set for 10 seconds. I'm playing with you here. This is a timed lab experiment. Okay, 10 seconds is up. Let's see if it's in place. No, it's not. They lie. All right, watch this. I'm going to cure it here. Now I've got a Weller. This is what is this? This is 35 or 23. This is a 23, but 35 watt is what you can get at Home Depot, and they now come with 3 LEDs. Now I have here a Unger PL823, and I've got it in my notes and whatever, and you can find them on eBay. This particular point here, and this Weller soldering iron are about 35 years old. You will never ever wear one of these out. If you're going to destroy one, is if the soldering iron dies and you pull this thing out, it's threaded in here. It may break on you. It's made out of copper and it's iron plated, and the iron plate is safe. And what you want to do is you want to tin this, and I do something that some people consider dangerous, but it's not. I have a towel, a hand towel, or you can use a washcloth. And to clean the tip, I just wipe it on there, and you get a nice clean tip to work with. Now we're ready to solder. Different people do it different ways, but I just go and put it on there and let it sit for a second. Oops, and get it put enough. That's why you need the 015 or 020 is to regulate just how fine a layer you can do, and it doesn't have to be. You're going to put parts on here, it doesn't matter. So that's what it looks like. Now you'll note that because you heated this up, the super glue will sometimes, if you get too much, and I did, so I got to find a way to make the tip finer, or see if the Gorilla super glue is better. But this stuff heats and evaporates and leaves a fume, so don't breathe it. I've got a 125 watt computer fan to blow air across the desk. So I don't know how long I've gone here, but it's too long. 17 minutes. I'm going to make all these tutorials short. I'm talking about unlimited budget here. I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to restrict my budget to $1,000. I have a bank account. I just came from the bank and got a new debit card, so I can do stuff on PayPal. And we're going to spend some money. Okay. Now you don't have to do this. You can watch and be in the peanut gallery. This is mainly for people who want to see how things done, and I got some nice feedback from people who want me to. Here's the Kester solder, and it's it's 0.015 inches, and it's the good stuff. And I can use this on some SMD stuff. But I also got in the mail some solder paste to do some SMD stuff, because I got a VFO kit from Kits and Parts for $7, and I want to try something. We may use it in a project here. What else have I got? Working with the boards, when you cut it or shear it, the edge is going to be nasty, so you're going to need a sanding block. And on my trip to Home Depot, I got some 180 3M Precision Pro Grade. It's just what they have on the shelf. So I'm going to use it to remove all the damaging material from the edges. One other thing, if you're like me, you like bright light in the lab, and I have some LED bars that I bought for $10 each at SwapMate here in Phoenix, Valley of the Sun. And let me warn you about LEDs. I saw the first LED ever manufactured in the world at Texas Instruments in 1967, I think the summer thereof, and it wasn't very bright. The LEDs now, the two Japanese guys that got the Nobel Prize in Physics for coming up with the blue, now we've got white light. And if you're like me at night, I do not like them in headlights. So, you know, they're just too bright. But let me show you something. I've got a spectrometer I bought last year. It comes from China for 150 bucks. But let me show you what I can do with it. Let's see. This is, the other day I met a buddy of mine in Flagstaff. This is the spectrum from the sun. Whoops, let me get it where you can, whoops, I want to get it where you can see it. Maybe if I turn this light off here for a second, you can see this is on my phone. This is the spectrum from your sun 150 million kilometers away. And this is in Flagstaff. You can only see from here to here. This is infrared, and this little absorption line here is for oxygen in the atmosphere. Now, if I point straight up, that's pointed direct at the sun. If I point straight up, the reason the sky is blue is because that's the predominant wavelength there, and all this other stuff is single scattering, and it's, well, I'm going to do a video. I'll come back. But what I wanted to show you was down here, I think this is it. Bear with me. Stan. Yeah. No, this is from something else. I think it's an LED, but not a, it's a soft one. Let's see, let me get a bright one. Nope, it's another one. Oh, anyway, white LEDs, the visible is lower than the ultraviolet peak. They do some fancy stuff with solid state physics, and anyway, you got a UV peak here. So these little bar lamps and everything that I'm using have, and any white LED lamp will have some UV in it, so wear glasses that have UV blockers. Going back, I'm going to show you a couple of projects, simple ones for starters, for beginners. Then we're going to do two projects. One of them for, you know, build something to use. One of them is the Dave Benson NN1G NE4040, which was a transceiver for 40 meters, cost 40 bucks as a kit, from the New England QRP Club. Speaking of QRP clubs, I just had a meeting last Friday with the Arizona QRP Club, and they're, looks like they're getting more active. And then, if you've paid any attention, Doug Hendricks and a group in California has started doing stuff with the NorCal QRP Club. You may want to look at their group on Groups.io. So we're going to do that, plus I got permission a long time ago from Steve Weber, KD1JV, to do his 40 meter all transistor. And all the projects that we're going to do here for the Manhattan are emphasizing, or we're going to do transistors because they're cheap and they're easy to understand. So when we get through, we're going to look at the AA7FO. Steve Weber called his little transceiver the ADC, all discrete components. Now Doug Hendricks, when he had Hendricks kits going, he provided a kit, but he replaced the audio with a NE612 or 602. I laid out a board for the ADC 40 meter, okay, all transistor, no IF transformers, all toroids for transformers and stuff. And I built one of these, but I can't find it, so I'm going to build another one. I bought 5 boards for $5, and this is one of them. We'll see if I can remember what I did. I can also do a board for the NE4040. So for those that want to build stuff from boards, I'll have the Gerbers available, and you can go get those. But that's it, and I'm sorry to take 25 minutes, but every video is packed full of hot information that nobody else has. Well, everybody has it, but we do it different. Also, going back to my little 17-meter worked all states, I got in the mail yesterday. The mailman's busy and the delivery guys, but I bought one of these off of my friend Amazon to play with. These things are so light, considering this is 12 volts at 10 ampere hours. Do you know how long I can work 17 meters at less than 5 watts using this battery? Well, I don't know. Let's find out. That's it from Lake Wobegon, and I shall return, unfortunately.